Um, Hello, my dear viewers. Please watch and listen to this video until the end, since this video will mark the end of my alter ego video series for now. And at the end, you will get a teaser of which philosophical deep thought project comes next. And I'm going to talk today about the mobile game Alter Ego and the stories and the morals connected to it. First of all, you need to know that Alter Ego is a philosophical clicker game from the game developing studio Caramel Column, who are a relatively unknown studio from Japan who also developed two other games which are named this. It is an adventure game, and this a card game. Sadly, I can't Japanese, so I'm not sure what these games are about. Actually, sorry about that. Okay. So back to Alter Ego and its story. At first glance, it could be probably confusing when entering the game and seeing whispers floating around and a strange stone man, he is called Facade if you didn't know it, starts talking to you. Once you collected enough of the so-called echo in this game, you are able to unlock the personality test the girl Ace has prepared for you. Those tests are perhaps really personal, supposedly you took them seriously, and sometimes really raise questions up about your own life. I'm not sure if the game developer wanted their players to think about the behaviors in lives that much when creating that game, but the results are nonetheless really astonishing. There are really few good philosophical games out there in the world, and Alter Ego is by far one of them. When it comes to the world of Alter Ego, it is quite likely that she is stuck in there for eternity. At least that's what the game is telling us. As she mentioned it in some of her texts in this game, as you can see, maybe there or there or there. The players, are just there temporarily, I think so, and eventually vanish from this world once the game is over or we have the ending, whatever, even though they are saying that we are still wandering around with her. I don't believe that much. Um, in the end, this forsaken world is filled with nothing but Ace. The books in it and the thoughts flowing around in the endless hall. Depending on your decisions you have taken during the lessons with Ace, the thoughts will change. But most of the time they are filled with sadness and despair, coming not only from the players, but also from Ace herself. That's at least my interpretation of the game. The stone face in this game should probably well, it's definitely representing conformity, since this stone face is all about rules. Rules lead the world, everyone needs to uphold the rules, etc. But this conformity is to some extent also a jail for Ace in this game, since she's probably connected to this world. I'm not sure about the connection between her and this world, but I guess that the world will vanish or disappear if she decides to leave it or to destroy it. That's why our Mr. Stoneface was probably really angry at us when at the end of the second during on this I mean on the endless hall nearing the second ending, which let Ace go insane. But but let's talk more about the three endings and storylines of this game. You see, there are the id, se, super ego, and ra storylines in these games, which will all occur depending on what decisions you have taken in your conversations with Ace. Since you have probably played through the game, I don't need to explain much what the endings were, but you should know that this idea with the three different storylines depending on your decisions is actually taken over from the structural model of the psyche from the psychologist Sigmund Freud. Here's a picture of him. Yeah, good dude. To say it in short, we have a so-called it, in German is, oh, and which purely acts on behalf of its instincts. A pretty simple example for this you can see in daily life. Little child sees a lollipop, child wants the lollipop, without further thinking about it. Such examples happen mostly to food related things in our lives, because if you transfer to all your life areas, then your life wouldn't be much different than from an animal, to say it nicely, since they also only live purely by their instincts like sleep, food, sex. Yeah, that's it basically. Apart from the id, there's also superego, which plays the critical and moralizing role in our lives. Many decisions we take are on behalf of our awareness about the rules in this world. A world without rules would be quite dark, I guess. For example, if in a world where murdering is allowed, stealing is normal, people do what they want, it's not a really nice world to live in. And that's why we have the super ego in our mind to keep us preventing from going bananas and just simply do what we want. And finally, there's our ego in this model from Sigmund Freud. It is basically the controlling section in our psyche, which takes most of the times the leading role in our mind. So you can call it our normal self. It is influenced by from our it and superego, depending on how your values in lives are. But normally it is quite stable. Knowing all of this information now, you probably realized how deep thought this game actually is. Because, well, it represents your personality to some extent, depending on your decisions, whether you tend to rely most of the times on your instincts, on your superego, or most of the people are just their normal selves in this game. I'm not assuming anyone to be just purely led by his or her instincts or by your superego. It's just a theory, but it is quite well. It is saying to some extent at least something about you in this game. Moreover, let's talk about the books which are shown in the game, where we as players have to level up. It is quite boring most of the times, I know, doing this. This is the typical clicker game aspect again, to level up the pages and so on, to finally get the whole content of the game. Most of the books are actually important literature works from various authors such as Franz Kafka with his book Metamorphosis, or Edgar Allan Poe's works, which are not all shown in this game, but just some little bits and pieces of what he was doing. He was, well, most people know him probably as horror book author. All of these authors in this game describe in their books several aspects of the human behavior and point them out in the works. If you're interested in them, you can watch the summaries of the books in game on the summaries of the books which are shown in game on YouTube, or just read them up yourself. Most of them are free to read actually nowadays, or you can just read the summaries of them somewhere. Next point. Why are we even in this world in this game? Such a question would eventually rise up while you are clicking through the thoughts floating around in the endless hole. My theory is that this world actually doesn't exist, or to be precise, not in the way we think of when talking about existing. It is quite likely that everything you see in this game, the endless hole, facade, is the test, is just a pictorial presentation of our brain working subconsciously. As you know, our brain is processing everything we experience in our lives and stores them as memories. The library in this game could as well be the memory place of our brains, since the thoughts and memories of all the authors in this game are included. Another thing I want to point out, even if you're not aware of it, your brain is subconsciously taking the thoughts in which are around you or inside you, which means the endless hole is perhaps representing the connection from the outside and inside world of yours with your brain. Sounds complicated, but with an example, you are talking outside, having a conversation with your friends, and you're just getting the vibe of it inside of you. You're feeling happy. You are memorizing lots of things when talking to them. You memorize the atmosphere, etc. And you are having your own thoughts at the same time too, while having these conversations, which are mostly positive. That is just one example of it. And facade is a picture of our superego in this game, as you have probably noticed. And S is our, maybe, just maybe, don't kill me if I'm wrong, is maybe our brain confronting us with everything in our lives, in our personality tests. I would actually love to see a pictorial presentation of it in a sequel. Maybe maybe it gets shown as monster or animal. It would be funny, and a game fight between superego, in this case facade, and it, which would more reflect our daily lives better to see who the winner is. But those are just my wishes for the future in this game. I hope you understand now most of the things mentioned in this game and the thoughts behind them. In my opinion, this game is a true masterpiece from the depth and knowledge put into it, with so much details from the game developer. Hopefully there's a sequel being released with new scenes of Ace and new storylines, new endings and such stuff. I hope you enjoyed this little analysis about the game Alter Ego, and don't forget to like and share and subscribe to this YouTube channel if you want to see more of such content. And have fun! See ya guys!